This is the Nerdy Virgin podcast. It is almost 4 a.m, and I've eaten enough sugar to keep me going for another 5 hours. And that is why I'm recording this podcast now, literally walking around my apartment in circles, instead of recording it at a timely hour. So at this point, I don't think I should call this insomnia. This is an overdose of sugar, and I'll be falling asleep right at 8:29 a.m. And my plan is to wake up at 8:30. So we're on a path to just pure self-destruction here. That's what's happening, and I'm finding ways of doing it without having to resort to the more fun drugs and alcohol. Doing it purely with sugar, which is not, overdosing on sugar, destroying my body with sugar is, you miss all of the fun experiences that you get with the other ones. I just read about, celebrities and rock stars who go on these benders with alcohol and drugs, and there's, high-flying adventures with women and trashing hotel rooms and wild and crazy stories. I was up at 4 a.m. I was in a Cadillac and we were in the bottom of a ravine. It was amazing, man. Oh, there were fireballs all over the place, which was odd because we were somehow in the middle of Antarctica, but yet there was a bunch of fire. It was trippy, man. You can read about it in my new novel. What happened? That's the title of the novel. That doesn't happen when I'm overdosing on sugar. What happens when I'm overdosing on sugar is I end up podcasting at 4 a.m. It's just, I'm just momentarily slightly more productive. That's what happens to me. That's how I go on a bender. I go on a bender and I just write a to-do list. That's the other thing I just did. I just wrote all of my goals I want to accomplish in 2022. So that's fun. That is truly a fun thing, isn't it? That's a lot of fun. I've just said that 5 times in a row. I'm also trying to keep it a little bit low on the volume because I don't want to wake the neighbors. Even though the one neighbor I've talked to said he never hears anything from me. He at one point thought I was dead. So that's a fun notion. I also am once again recording this on my phone instead of using the more expensive equipment that is literally 2 feet away from me. The problem is I hate recording a podcast while seated. I like to be walking around, milling about. That was an exercise we did in theater class, milling and seething. Here's the really creepy thing. The really creepy thing I'm doing in my life now as I've turned 40 this year is I start to look at the people in my life who are older than me and compare where I'm at with where they were when I encountered them. Like, for instance, I'm only 10 years younger than 2 of my college professors when I was in college. And that is absolutely blowing my mind. This is this is what I hate about getting older. Because there's a part of me that's like, college was just a couple years ago. It was just yesterday. It was just I still have nightmares that I don't have enough credits to graduate college. My brain is still like, no, it's 2004. What are you talking about? No. What are skinny jeans? It's 2004. Did the skinny jeans come around in 2004? I should look that up. I don't feel like it. I had a brush with white chocolate that we should discuss. I was given Japanese cookies that it's like imagine basically it's a Milano cookie, but instead of dark chocolate in the center, it was white chocolate, and they were phenomenal. But as I was eating them, I was told, white chocolate isn't really chocolate. It's actually a mixture of vanilla and cocoa butter. And the people who told me that, why do you have to go around and, why do you have to pull white chocolate down? What's your thing against white chocolate? Okay, so it's not literally white chocolate. Does it taste delicious? Yes. All right, then what do you want? Oh, fine, call it whatever you want to call it. White vanilla, which I think seems redundant, right? It's assumed that vanilla is a lighter color or a white color. Right, isn't it? But apparently white chocolate is not chocolate. It's another lie. Okay, it's another lie that big chocolate, corporate chocolate, has been ramming down our throats. It's not really chocolate. Well, sometimes that's what you got to do to sell things. Like white chocolate is chocolate, the way that Boba Fett is Star Wars. There you go. Both are very good, but neither one is quite what they say they are. Listen, I am a huge fan of Boba Fett. I love the actor who's playing Boba Fett. I love the show. All I'm saying is, when it's called Star Wars, if there's not an overt war taking place in the stars, is it Star Wars? That's all I'm asking at this point. And again, I love the show. He has spent the last 5 episodes hiring people. That's been the thrust of every episode. It's a show where you get to watch Boba Fett, intergalactic bounty hunter Boba Fett, going around asking people, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's what it is. And you know what? I'm eating it up. I love it. It's a delight. However, I am also right in that it is, it's white chocolate. What can you do? Well, good night. No, I'm kidding. I'm still not tired yet. I basically need to podcast myself to sleep. That's what's happening. That's what you're witnessing right now. I am podcasting myself to sleep. And I don't know how effective any of this is. I was talking to my parents, and I told them, I do this podcast. And my mom was like, yeah, we know. We're aware. And then she said, I don't want you to be worried about, us while you're podcasting. I don't want that to affect anything that you're doing. And what I would like to kindly remind her is that I worry about everything, no matter what anyone is doing. So I will always worry. That is, my worry is as constant as the Northern Star. Shakespeare, that was the line Julius Caesar said right before he was killed. So now I'm worried about that. See, this is how my brain works. I mentioned this, and actually, I will share this with you. I had this. I ended up having this conversation with a couple of other comics about science fiction. We started talking about science fiction novels, and for a long time, I felt really self-conscious because I tell everyone I'm a big sci-fi fan, but I don't feel like I've ever really read any sci-fi novels. But then I think to myself, that's why I read Asimov's Foundation. At least I read the first book in the Foundation saga. It is also why I pushed myself to finish reading Dune. I really had to push, but I did it. I finished reading Dune. And I've talked about Dune a lot in these podcasts. I don't want to rehash. I don't want this to turn into another Dune diatribe. That's the last thing I want to have happen. I did what I needed to do in the desert. I'm feeling good about it. But I still don't feel quite like I don't feel like I've covered everything. I also did read Starship Troopers. Nothing like the movie. This is another thing I've talked about. In fact, the whole... but I will rehash it again because, just in case you haven't been listening to every podcast I've done for the past 5 years that on average 5 people listen to, I think it's fine for me to repeat some things. But the Starship Troopers movie is making fun of the Starship Troopers book. And when I realized that, I didn't know that really when I saw the movie with my friends when we were in high school. And we were making fun of the movie, but I did not really get how the movie was making fun of the movie. We're sitting there going, this is ridiculous. And that's because the filmmaker himself was going, yeah, I know. I know. I am making it ridiculous. You're ridiculous. That's the theme of Starship Troopers. The theme of Starship Troopers is you're an idiot. And by you, I mean all of our collective governments. And you know what? All of us, we're idiots. That's the theme of Starship Troopers. You're an idiot. The book is the opposite of the movie. I mean, I think Heinlein, if I'm saying his name right, is it Heinlein? I never know. Heinlein is, I think his take on it is, okay, well, war is a necessary evil. And the fact of the matter is, if we don't go to war, sooner or later, some real crazy nut job is going to take over everything. So war is bad, but it's the lesser of two evils. And the book was charting the evolution of this one soldier, going all the way through school and then fighting campaigns, and it was and very technical in how the military operation was to proceed. And it had a lot less of the interpersonal drama that was there in the movie, which is fine. So it was a lot more dry, but it's also feels to me to be a very pessimistic view of the world. And the sheer irony is that I, of all people, am saying, I don't like that pessimistic view. I'm like, wait a minute, who am I? Nobody's more pessimistic than I am, and I'm turning my nose at Robert Heinlein, who's probably, unfortunately, 100% correct. The one thing they did in the book they didn't do in the movie, this is going to get pretty nerdy right now. The one thing they didn't do in the movie that they did in the book, the soldiers had these giant mech suits where they could jump a mile into the air. And I wish they would have had that in the movie. I think at the time it was probably too difficult to... And that's me burping into the podcast. It's what happens when you drink nothing but ginger ale for 12 consecutive hours. But I think it was probably too expensive for them to do that in the movie back in the 90s. But it would be nice to see... I mean, I think that the closest that came to really depicting that was actually in the Avatar movie. The evil general in the giant mech suit that he's in. That's closer to what they had or what seemed to be described in Starship Troopers, the book. At any rate, I'm having a conversation with these other two comedians about science fiction, and the one they threw out was Alfred Bester. I've never read anything by Bester, so I'm going to check him out. I need to check out some Alfred Bester. And who's the other one that they were talking about? Well, Bester was the one thrown at me. There's another one too, and I should have written it. I should have written that down. But Bester was the one. The only thing I know about Alfred Bester is that there was a character in Babylon 5 named Bester, and J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote Babylon 5, named the character after Alfred Bester, the sci-fi writer. Beyond that, I know nothing about the stuff that he's written. And that's basically what's been going on with my life. There's a moment where, here's what happened in that moment. I realized that nothing I've been saying has been comedy gold. So I was just very judgmental in that moment. But on the other hand, what I'm really trying to do with this podcast is get out of thinking. It's what I'm trying to do on stage and in life. Just stop thinking and just, embrace the moment and just see what comes up without having to think about it. And what ends up happening is I'm having a conversation with myself about science fiction. I'm worried that, how can I profess to call myself a science fiction enthusiast, but there's so much science fiction that I have not read. And I'm not a huge reader either. So for me to sit down and the weird thing, I say I'm not a huge reader, but when I do sit down and read, it is quite enjoyable. I haven't been writing as much as I should, but when I sit down and write, it really is quite enjoyable. I don't meditate, but when I sit down and meditate, I feel a lot better. When I stop eating sugar and eat healthy, my digestion is way better. There's a lot of things I could be doing to feel better. And then I don't do any of it, and then I say, well, I have insomnia and I have irritable bowel syndrome. No, I'm just an idiot. That's really all it is. Theme of Starship Troopers, full circle. Bad guys are always bugs. I've talked about that before. Bad guys are always bugs. Bad guys are never cats. Actually, in the Wing Commander movie, they looked like big kind of lions. They looked like big cats. And look what happened in the Wing Commander movie. See, you can't make cats bad guys. It never quite works. No matter what, they're too cute. You can't make cats bad. They did it in The Lion King, but they were all cats. We fly out into an alien civilization and we meet alien cats. Even if they're killing us by the thousands, we're like, gotta love them though. Suppose we do go out and we explore the universe and we discover alien life and they are cat-like people. That's going to be like all the cat ladies of the world are finally going to feel like this is our time now. And I joke about cat ladies. I want to say this 100%, and I want to let the record show that if not for the fact that I was allergic to cats, and if not for the fact that I have a massive fear of committing to anything, responsibility-wise, I would be a cat lady. I would have 15 cats, 100%. And they could come and go. I would always feed them. I would always set the table for them. They wouldn't have to be there. They could do whatever they want. They could come and they could go. They would be free. But my God, would I have cats. I miss my roommate's cat. That was the best possible situation, looking back on it, because he was the one who had to take care of the cat. I just got to play with the cat. And the cat would come and sleep with me at night until he came home, and then the cat would run and, which is makes sense. That's fine. I'm not emotionally, all right, I got to be honest with you. There was a part of me that wished that the cat would start to love me more than the owner of the cat, than my roommate. There's a part of me that was like, I just wish that, and it's nothing against my roommate. He was great. This is purely me, this ego-driven desire to be more loved than the other person. That's how competitive I am. There's a part of me that wished that the cat said, you know what, I choose you. I know he's the one that owns me technically, but you will be my owner in my heart. There's a part of me that wishes that. I think, now I'm freaking out because I had popcorn tonight, and I bit down on a kernel really hard, and now my tooth is hurting a little bit. Now I'm freaking out going, did I just crack a tooth? Is this going to be a $10,000 thing? Is this the end? Am I going to be dead tomorrow? I'm sitting here like an idiot Googling the coronavirus. How is it is the pandemic going to end? There's 6 different scenarios that they're coming up with in terms of what's going to happen next with the pandemic. And in all 6 of them, our healthcare system is terrible. That's the... It doesn't even matter what all 6 of them are. It's in all 6 of them, we die tomorrow, we die next week, we die in 2 years, we die in 5, we die in 12, we die in 30. I think those are the 6 possibilities. Not to mention the fact, but I hate to bring it down even more, but we're worried about this coronavirus pandemic. There's going to be another one. Then we get to have 2. We may never be able to leave our houses again at some point. But I don't think that's possible. We need human interaction. I don't go out to restaurants like I used to. I haven't been to a restaurant I feel last time I was at a restaurant must have been February of 2020. It's been 2 years since I've sat down and eaten at a restaurant. I did it once at an outdoors at a restaurant when it wasn't very crowded. That was the last time. I still have not gone out. And you know something? The only thing I miss is I do miss the energy of being around other people. Which is odd, because as I say that, I think to myself of all the times I've eaten at a restaurant, especially when it's busy, how annoying other people are, and how I feel like, oh, God, it's so loud in here. Overhearing people having insipid conversations. What else has been going on? Well, it's been about 22 minutes. I just watched Batman v Superman, the director's cut, the extended edition. This is now the 3rd time I've seen this movie, and it took me 3 times of watching it, and the extended edition watching it, and I'm finally beginning to understand where they were coming from, because at first when I first watched it, I just didn't think that Batman would be as stupid as he was, or as he seemed to be in this movie. That he keeps thinking Superman's the bad guy for as long as he thinks it. And then when I watched it this last time, I went, oh, I can kind of see where he's coming from. It's not so much that he thinks Superman is the bad guy; it's that this is this unstoppable force. We can't let this go on. He has no one should have that much power. All right. I'm kind of seeing it. I still think that I guess I just want a Batman who's like 5 steps ahead of the game. I always like that Batman. I want the Batman who's, Superman's like, I need to find this Batman. And Batman is already standing right there going, I've got it. I already know. What do you want? What do you want, Clark? How do you know my identity? I've known, I'm so far ahead. I'm so many steps ahead of you. That's what I want a Batman who is phenomenally intelligent, but just also kind of over it. Don't even try, Clark. Don't even try. I'm 90 steps ahead of you right now. I don't even want to go into it. We've got to stop. I know we need to stop Lex Luthor. That's why I'm here. Can you just get in the car? I don't want to get in the car. I'll fly there. No, get in the car. It's all part of my. It's all part of my plan. I would think there were times where Superman would just want to get in the car. Granted, he can fly with no effort, but there must have been times where it's like, I'm flying with no effort here, but sometimes I want to listen to the radio. I don't have to get there in 2 seconds. It's the journey. Life is the journey, man. Yeah, it is. Now I'm regretting having you drive in the car. But yes, I did watch Batman v Superman, and these are two characters who are these big hulking guys. And this is where sometimes I need to go over to Doctor Who, where the hero is not the big hulking guy. The hero is the 75-year-old man who's annoyed. Because I feel like between the two, that one's way more attainable for me. I can see myself becoming that much more realistically than becoming an alien with amazing powers, and slash a rich billionaire who is in the peak physical condition and can somehow hold his own with aliens who are invincible and unstoppable. That's all I'm saying. Of all of those, I'm going to go with the guy who wears the scarf in the summer, because I too have bad circulation. Also watched Injustice, DC animated cartoon, and the premise of this one is that the Joker kills Lois Lane, and Lois Lane, who's pregnant with Superman's baby, and Superman kills the Joker and decides that, it's not enough to just, save the day. He's going to overthrow all the governments, create a totalitarian regime, and totally make the world safer. He goes to the dark side, and Batman and a ragtag group of heroes and villains have to rise up and stop him. And it was decent. It was fun. It was a fun ride. I think at the end of the day, and I don't mean to insult Superman when I say this, but it happened to me like it happened to everyone else. When I grew up, I was a Superman fan. I was like, I must have been 7 or 8 years old when the Batman movie came out, the Tim Burton Batman. And I refused to see it in theaters because I thought I would be betraying Superman. Nope, he's not Superman. Not interested. I finally saw Batman, and I had to go to Superman and say, "Listen, I think I've met someone." And Superman was like, "Well, I don't understand." And I'm like, I've met someone who's as depressed as I am. And I can't handle your eternal optimism. I need somebody that I can cry in the dark with, and I think I found it. And his name is Batman. And Superman said, I'll be fine, right? I'm an invulnerable god. I really do what you got to do, man. All right, I'm feeling better than I was a few minutes ago, because I almost bailed at 22 minutes in. We're getting to 30 minutes in. I'm finally feeling like I'm working my way back up to doing a 1 hour version of this, which I think may happen at some point. But I wanna be able to get to at least 30, and it looks like that's happening, and I feel good. I'm now going to listen to music, and that will probably include the theme to Power Rangers. That's where I'm at emotionally right now, and try to get a few hours of sleep before I wake up and say to myself, I need to go to bed earlier and stop eating 10 tons of sugar right before I go to bed. That's what needs to happen. And right now all I'm doing is I'm waiting until that 30-minute strike. Like, we're at 29 minutes and 38 seconds, and I hate the idea of it can't go under, like, this is the OCD in me. It's like, it's got to be at 30 minutes or more. I can't handle it if it's 29 minutes and 47 seconds. It's got to be over that 30. And if it's not over that 30, the entire world will blow up. And now it's over the 30. So I think the world is, well, it's not over the 30 now. It's over the 30, right? Okay. We're at 30 minutes and 2 seconds. All right. I can breathe. Okay, good. We did this. Perfect.